It is a world of darkness, and the warriors of Gaia fight over the fate of the world against their enemy, the cosmic force of entropy and corruption, the Wyrm. Unbeknownst to mankind, they wage a war against the coming apocalypse, with new cubs taking up the cause to fight with fang, clave, and gun and claw. They give the Wyrm no quarter. They give it only rage.
It is the 5th day into the beginning of your rite. When you awoke this morning for the first time since the night of your expulsion, the blizzard has ceased, replaced with the regular and normal snowfall. There is still a bitter chill to the air, yet it is no longer the suffocating cold of frost that the blizzard brought. You can see more plainly the white covering the dark pines, the elaborate trenches of snow with only the faintest breakage suggesting the passage of an animal every occasional moment. You have wakened, you have drunk some melted water, eaten from the supplies you took from Bill, and have had some time to discuss your plans and your trials ahead. Now it is time to put words into action. Scene is yours.
All the traps are set. Alright. Tara, you told us about that dream. You, Snarls, Dave, go and, lie as Lupus. Start a fire. Stay around the fire, maybe cooking something. D, you and I are gonna be nearby once they come out of the snow and attack those three. You draw their attention. You guys step sideways. And then Darren will shift into Lupus and find a place to lie, covering himself with snow and camouflaging himself as much as he can, also masking his scent with the snow around him.
He's gonna roll around in the snow after turning into Lupus, and then find a nice place to hide.
I think that's a good idea. I might do the same thing.
Is everyone clear on what we're going to be doing?
I yawn and look at Tara and say, yeah, you, me, and Snarls are going to act as bait, and then we're going to run step into the Umber once we're sprung trap, run a little bit, come out of the Umber, get their attention, and then run away.
Very briefly, those of you who suffer nightmares, please make your rolls. D was strangely able to shake off the waking terrors that bothered him in his sleep the easiest. Darren and Tara, some lingering scenes, some lingering screams, a word or sentence uttered is still remembered, but ultimately you are able to put it behind you. Not too caught up in the horrors of past or present to forget what's happening.
I look at Tara and mutter, should we try reasoning with them? Sure, they're after us, but if they've been following us all this time, they fucking know there are pillars and bane spirits running around the area, and they're bothering us instead of dealing with those.
The only way to get them on our side is to beat them. Could I call upon my ancestors?
Oh yeah, could I also?
Yes. You may call upon your ancestors, though what are you calling upon them for?
Athletics, I need to be able to fucking run.
Same athletics.
I will also call on my ancestors to help with Brawl and deal with this Wendigo menace.
Your ancestors have experience with that.
Exactly. That's why it should help. It didn't help.
Knock it out! My guy!
Your ancestor guides you on how to move swiftly in snow. regardless of your form. Whereas Snarls, you find that your ancestors aren't there. And if they are, they're not listening.
Dave just sits there and cries. I never knew my father.
Oh, God.
Snarls would put a paw on Dave's mouth.
Before we die, I'm going to give Snarls a big hug.
Snarls looks confused, and after he's done, he will push away slightly, readjusting his mirror shades, making sure they're not messed up.
Alright. So. Zara, Snarls, Dave, are there any final things you do before wandering about waiting for a bunch of Wendigo to come jumping out of the snow at you?
Shit.
I look to Snarls and mutter, "You ready with those glasses, right?"
Snarls would nod.
Okay then.
Could I, at this point, peer into the Umbra to see if I can see that Stormcrow?
Roll your gnosis. As the three of you trek through the snow, the crunch of it beneath your paws, the cool sensation of it against the pads of your feet, the wet liquid moisture which gathers on your cold noses and dribbles into your nostrils, making you sneeze. You peer into the Umbra, where the color takes on an almost psychedelic quality. A mishmash of rotating and ever-shifting symbols, which you are aware that men call shapes, move in a bizarre blend of color, usually in very circular pattern. You can see the looming trees, the cold snow which is gathered. You can hear in the far distance a clap of ethereal thunder and a caw which radiates through the trees. They are near.
Can I hear where they're coming from?
You catch a very faint sound of a jingle. The sound of jewelry rattling. You can hear a heavy growl moving through the tree. The sound, not the sword. They are already in wait, directly ahead of you.
Snarls would, as quietly as possible, recall this information to the two.
I look to Tara and say, "How do you feel about dancing with the devil in this beautiful pale moonlight?"
Tara continues forward in hopes of springing the trap, saying back to Dave, "I'd rather be at home dancing with my pack instead of out in this freezing wilderness."
You're telling me. I miss the nice fire pit.
Snarls would continue saying, "Yeah, but what's all that bad about nature? Come on, the forests are nice, you can't lie."
I'm sure it's lovely during the summer.
Snarls, you hear something, though it is very faint. Roll your wits and ritual. You can hear the faint howl. It sounds muffled into ordinary hearing, even the ordinary hearing of a Garu, it would not be easily detected. But you can't recall what it signified.
Snarls would recall this information to the group quietly again.
Does that really mean anything to me since I can't hear it myself?
Not really, sadly. Proceeding forward, you move through the brush, the creak and crackle of bramble as you pass through a bush, the snow still crunching underfoot as you move through, sniffing at the cold air, which brings a chill frost up the nostril. Your wet noses, all the wetter from the snow falling from the trees, clumping on patches of your fur between your shoulders, causing you to shake to rustle it off. D, how are you continuing along with following the pack?
Stalking quietly, silently. I'm in the background watching, ducking from tree to tree, bush to bush, rock to rock, bramble to bramble. I'm a ghost in the night, ghost in the shell.
As the three of you proceed, there is a crunch of snow. You come into a faint surrounding shamble of trees, which rattle with their thin branches, some devoid of leaves, dropping pines with the snows that itch against your flesh between your fur, and others just creak ominously in the faint wind. Snarls, you're about to get attacked.
I look over to Tara and say, I don't think we're alone.
Snarls would give a light tapping, light kick of the leg to Dave or Tara, whoever's close to him. Basically saying, yeah, time to go.
No sooner does he have time to speak than do the Wendigo burst from the snow around you. It is a torrent as each one rising sends an explosion of snow out from the ground around them as they come out in their Krynos form, snarling and one howling the anthem of war. Time for initiative.
We can all roll as one, correct?
I thought Snarls was rolling for whatchamacallit.
Actually, considering your plan, don't bother with initiative. Instead, Snarls, roll Gnosis, because you had a bit of forewarning. No sooner does the snow begin to reach you that the three of you step sideways into the Umbra, led by Snarls. The Wendigos stop immediately, their claws outstretched to either side of them, their ears perked, a deep rumble of snarls emanating amidst them. They're a bit confused, as one might imagine. D, what is it you're preparing to do?
Hamstring in the thicket. I'm waiting on Darren to make the first move.
D, what you witness is a sudden flurry beginning, until you realize it isn't the wind creating this flurry. It is the rapid movement of Darren through the trees, already bursting into Krynos as he knocks aside a small dead log. He bursts out onto the right flank of the Wendigos, sweeping right with his claws, gorging open its back. As the one to the right of him turns around, he turns his entire body, left hand snatching the side of the Wendigo's head, clasping around the ear, wrenching it free as he drives the head up, then down into the ground. He then leaps backward onto the branch of a tree, snarling down at them in challenge.
Oh boy.
He made his entrance!
No shit, Sherlock! I'm going to run in as they're distracted on Harold.
You don't fucking say!
And I'm going to do the plan. I'm going to metamorph into Krynos. And would I have to spend a rage point to still make my slicey attack?
Considering that you are... Well, here's the thing. If you want to run in, strike, run out, yes, you'll have to spend rage. Or have your dice pool. However, they are significantly distracted. So if you're coming from behind them, you can run in and get an attack fairly quickly and easily. So that's why it's only one thing if you just want to run in and get a quick swipe.
I'm going to from behind. I'm gonna go in and swipe and then get the fuck out.
Alright. In which case you will need to spend a rage. And next and brawl. D, The best way you could describe yourself is the Black Torpedo. You bolt through the trees, just burst free from the shadowy confines of the pines above you. As midair you shift into Krynos, sweeping with your talons for the back of the forelegs of the nearest Krynos, rending flesh, pulling at individual muscles until they snap, cut on your claws, before, in the same motion, leaping back into the Hispo before striking snow and beginning to run off. As the Wendigo turn and looking about them at the realization that they have no clue where the pack is, they begin to refocus on the still present Darren, while those trying to break off to defend their back suddenly tug at their legs, realizing the roots of the trees have grown up from the ground and wrapped around their ankles, freezing them into place. And in the case of the one whose head was slammed into the ground, unceremoniously, he finds that he is being slowly suffocated as the roots try to pull his head underground as though he were an ostrich. How does the other three in the Umbra react?
I assume we're going to be circling around and, trying to attack whichever side is exposed.
Which, by peering through the Umbra, you'll be able to see. Roll that Gnosis, boy. By peering in, you can see that the plan has worked with a complication. Darren isn't leaving when he was supposed to.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Instead, he has begun climbing the fucking tree like Spider-Man.
Okay. Okay. So, from peering into the Umbra, would I be able to grasp, a good location to exit so that we can just slice and keep running?
Yes.
Okay.
You can see that their backs are turned to the south. Those trying to cover the backs of their packmates are currently hung up on the roof.
Okay. So then, wait. So there are people covering their backs?
Well, there was some trying to. The problem is the trees ain't letting them move very much.
Okay. So, is anyone's back, completely exposed?
Yes, two of them.
Okay. So then Snarls would position himself, leave the Umbra where they can go for those two.
I'm totally helping with that.
Can I change into Hispo?
Stamina Primal Urge, and Gnosis from Snarl.
Okay.
Can I swap to Krynos?
Stamina Primal Urge. From the moment you step outward of the Umbra, you are greeted with the automatic gust of wind, as well as sudden high-pitched and return to normal sound, as you can hear one of the Wendigo belting out insults in the high tongue at Darren, one climbing the tree after him, clave in hand.
The one whose back is turned, I want to, rush forward, gash his hamstrings, run, dash backwards, howling my own, essentially challenge to fight, and then try and lead them off into the traps.
Max and Brawl.
Okay. Would I have to use rage?
Nah, you're just pretty much hitting and taunting. I expect you to taunt.
The people with the roots, their legs aren't exposed because they're being pulled, right?
And their feet aren't exposed. These are werewolves. They're quite tall.
Okay. As a lupus, you don't really have claws, do you?
You have claws, but again, they're wolf's claws.
Okay. Then, can they really swat if their back is turned to us? Can they swat at us?
Yes. Can you reach with your arm behind your back? Yes.
Sometime.
Okay.
And if you're a capable fighter, especially when you practice hand-to-hand and melee combat, I'm sure Big can attest, you tend to learn a few basic ways of defending your back.
Okay.
You said one of these guys is climbing a tree after Darren, right?
Yes. Climb the fucking tree.
Okay, so I have a question. Can I shoot at the branch that he's currently using to climb up?
Dex and firearms.
Could I try to tear up one of the back-turned guys' legs with my teeth and then jump? Like, just avoiding to get, slaughtered from them,
Yeah, strength and roll.
Okay.
As the pack steps back from the Umbra, coming in behind the Wendigo, a bit to their right, Tara, at once in the Hispo, lunges outward, dashing past one of the Wendigo, using her massive paw to swat at the back of his leg, giving him a nice cut up the calf muscle, forcing him to take a knee as he falls snarling, batting at her but missing entirely as he swats with a massive taloned hand. A sudden sound of gunfire echoes through the woodland as Dave opens fire upon the tree of which the Wendigo chasing Darren is attempting to climb. At once, the branch moves into the line of fire, allowing it to be struck and weakened so it snaps, causing the Wendigo to latch onto the tree with his clave buried in the trunk as he turns and snarls at Dave. He mutters something in the high tongue. Immediately as you see this massive white blur dropping down, being Darren's Krynos form colliding with the Wendigo mid-tree as they go tumbling to the ground. The tree elevating one of its rigid roots for the Wendigo's back to strike on as they hit the ground. And Snarls, you need a real stamina.
Could I use a rage to try and react?
No, you did not do well. As Snarls went to bite at the back of the leg of the other turned Wendigo, by now he's heard enough chaos erupting around him. He's seen the pack come from every angle, making sure he knows he is now aware. As Snarls closes in with a growl for the back of his legs, his hand comes around, snatching Snarls around the neck, the massive Krynos paw closing around the lupus throat, lifting him up into the air in a crushing grip as he dangles Snarl midair in the center of the Wendigo pack. Snarls, you can feel your esophagus being clutched. Your shades are dribbling off to the side of your head, and oxygen is already beginning to be required as your lungs burn from the need of it. That's gonna be 5 bashing.
Could I try to do something?
Yes.
Okay. So first, I would like to make sure that the shades don't fall off. And could I try to just hop to the Umbra?
Gnosis. Because I was going to say, the only way you're going to be able to do that right now is he is literally dangling you in his grip, is getting the fuck out of there.
Okay. The mirror shades still apply, right? They're not broken.
No, they're not broken. And they're just, an inch away from going off your face. As he ragdolls you around, pitching you to one of his packmates who's facing you. You use the mirror shades to step sideways, thus as you would hit contact with his packmate, instead your feet touch the snow-covered ground of the Umbra as you step sideways. Technically, About 15 feet to the right of where you initially would have hit.
Could I, after doing so, peer into the Umbra to see how everyone's positioned?
Peering into the physical world. But yes, roll your noses. Meanwhile, Tara, what was your challenge to them?
I was just essentially howling to them in challenge, and then tried to lead them off into the woods to where we have our traps.
Well, as all this chaos is erupting, you see as Darren stands upward, the Wendigo holding the clave, throat in one paw, ankles in the other, as he whips him up like a towel and then brings him down over a knee. A resounding echoing out as he shatters the spine of the Wendigo, then pitches him to the side like a used tissue, at which point all the Wendigo want a piece of his ass. Because he just fucking Bane Batman, their leader.
Yeah.
I guess the trap's not happening.
Oh, wait a minute. I forgot one second. Yes, the trees are getting in on the action. One tree branch, which is already hanging low, drops its full weight, going momentarily limp, almost like a vine in the jungle, as its branch swips and smacks one of the Wendigo across the muzzle, drawing blood. Another one swipes upward, flipping one's footing out from under him. And the roots of the tree at which Darren was crawling and is still stood at begins to slowly coil around the neck of the one he face planted, who still has not been able to get off of the ground. Out of character, y'all are doing scarily well, because this is not... Wow.
No, like, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here?
Real quick, just saying, so while in the Umbra and peering out, would I at any point be able to catch sight of the Stormcrow?
Yes, you can. It's watching from the trees.
Okay, in the physical world, yeah?
Oh, hell no. In the Umbra.
Oh, in the Umbra?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If I was to, like, read it or look at it, would it seem to be doing anything or just, like, watching over them?
It is merely watching over the fight. Though, admittedly, at Darren's back break, you see its head cocked to the side.
Okay. What is going on with each of the Wendigos?
Of the 5 Wendigos, there are 3 standing. One, the one you need. One being the guy just to his left, who was originally going to toss Snarls to his pack to rip apart. And then there is one now directly in front of Harold, who is sharpening his claws against themselves, getting ready to take on, unbeknownst to him, a 4th rank Daru in the body of a pup.
What? Oh.
Darren.
Okay. Okay. Alright. The 2 who are on the floor, do they look like they're gonna get back up?
Honestly? Maybe. If the one guy can get the tree to stop trying to drag him under it, and the other guy can heal long enough that he can walk again, then yes.
Are they all like grouped like around each other, like close together?
No, the 2 that are closest to each other are the ones you and Snarls originally attacked, which are they're easily within arm's reach of each other. Whereas the other one is about 5 feet ahead of them. And Spreading his stance wide, Darren begins to engage in a face down with the Wendigo before him, snarling and bringing up his claws, running his tongue across the back of them. The Wendigo in front of him whimpers.
Wait, this happens during a fight?
Yes, and the terrifying thing is that the pups are winning.
Which one is nearest to me?
The one whose leg you just violently hump with your claws.
What does it look like everyone else is doing? Dave and Dave.
No.
Dave is just sort of looking for target.
He's going for the guy that got fucking baned? He's gonna make sure that man is not getting back up. He's not gonna kill him, he's just gonna make sure the spine stays severed.
Oh no. Is he gonna spike it?
No, I'm gonna rake my claws down his spine and snap it in two if I can.
Oh! Okay, you said that the one who I, gashed the leg of went on his knee. Could I shift into Krynos and, bring my claw up, swiping at his face?
Are you going to split your dice pool?
Spend rage?
Alright, spend rage and dex and, strength and brawl. No, dex brawl. Same for D, dex brawl.
Bye-bye spine.
Jesus!
I will say while that's going on, Snarls would have been in the Umbra peering over and having taken a quick look at the Stormcrow. Currently he is preparing in case anything fucks up. He will jump out of the Umbra and find a way to intervene. Mainly if Deep Prince or Tara fuck up, he's going to try and protect.
Okay, I'm using point willpower. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I'm fucked.
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh, can I use fate?
Yes, you may.
I'm
Damn
so
it, I
happy.
wondered. Oh!
Bye, world. It was nice knowing you.
Snarls, why did you have to ask these questions?
Sorry.
I just assumed that I've been decapitated.
Tara, please roll your stamina.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
If he goes to attack her, can I body him?
Tara, as you shift to Krynos and sweep up with your claws, he shoves out his left hand, burying his claws into your forearm, shredding through muscle and flesh so that the tips come out the other side as he drags you forward, shoving with his right hand as he tries to gut you right before your pack.
Can I charge him and try to attack his back while he's doing it?
Yes.
May I also add?
Yes.
Okay.
For both of you, it's going to be a dex and brawl.
Okay.
Your successes will subtract from him.
I love you guys.
As Snarls comes out from the Umbra and Dave comes from his back, it's like a bad game of American football as he gets careened from the right, careened from the left, and here he is stuck in the middle with you. No, he is lifted momentarily off of his feet from the force of impact of Snarls, bashing into the right side of his body, the massive weight of the Hispo knocking him clear to the left. Right as Dave sweeps at his back, taking him up off the ground so he falls prone on his left side. Boosh! A burst of snow coming out from under him as he's forced to miss you and instead smack the ground angrily. Very dangerous. Don't underestimate. Meanwhile, a piercing scream pierces the woods as D, reappearing, burrows his talons into the back of the fallen leader, severing spine and pulling free one of the notches so that the man is forced to revert back to Hamid, naked and panting in the snow.
God damn it.
You fucking hurt that boy.
This is what you get for violating the litany. Punishment.
Rip out his spine!
With that, the rest of his pack, looking up at their alpha, wounded, attempt, as best they can, really, to pull themselves back almost to shield him. Their Philodox being the one to go to his knees and hold up his hand. Wait! And that's when we're going to have him permission, because I need to pee.
Hey!
Can I just say that I have my foot on this man? On his leg, and I want to be staring at them with his fucking vertebrae in my hands.
Did you guys hear anything? I heard finish us.
Oh god, I need to peer into the Umbra and take a look at that Stormcrow now.
Leave the fucking Stormcrow alone, you've got bigger fish to fry.
I'm just saying, I want to see how he's feeling.
Stormcrow's probably looking pissed that its pack is
Here's what you see if you look into the Umbra. There is heavy black clouds covering the ground as thunder rolls. And yet you don't feel like it's angry. The Stormcrow is looking at you curious.
New totem?
this Stormcrow can go fuck off.
Meanwhile, y'all are going to have to worry about stopping Darren from ripping that Wendigo's throat out.
And that's to ignore penalties, yeah? And I can add my dots in Pure Breed, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Trust me, I did.
Shit.
Not me.
You don't have Pure Breed.
Exactly.
You're a mongrel.
Fine, I'll pure breed. Next character.
Oh yeah. Tara will leap in front of him, growling as they face each other down. Tara roll again. It actually forces Harold to take one step back as he's either not expecting this or actually momentarily wondering what's going on.
Roll again.
Yep.
Does my air of confidence count? Yes?
I believe so.
Okay, cool.
Ooh. This time the both stare at each other with such fervor, such strength in their bearing, their hackles raised, massive teeth snarling. Tara, one more roll. Harold looks away. And immediately surrenders control to Darren. He's
Pissed.
he's pretty much thrown his hands up and just gone, fuck this.
Off to a pop, bozo.
Am I still in Krynos?
Yes.
I cut that goddamn tree down and walk away.
Alright. Going back into the scene. As the snow is painted with varying shades of red and pink, some of it being obscured away as the snow is blown away, the Wendigo managing, finally, to pull themselves free from the thicket's embrace, ceased fighting. Their philodox on one knee, holding up a hand, pleading for you to cease and spare their alpha.
He will place the severed spine vertebrae on the ground next to him. Walk over, and how would I accept their surrender?
Well, it should be your alpha who accepts that.
Oh, okay. Then Dara.
Tara, in her Krynos form, walks towards where the Alpha, their Zadok, has fallen, growling and every footstep heavy, as she stands before their pleading Philodox. And she says, firstly, just growl, saying, "Do the decisions of your elders mean nothing to you? Does the litany mean nothing to you?"
It is the decision of the Alpha to clasp, clutching in the snow for his clave, as his Philodox, still in the position, bearing his throat in submission, says, "Such was the will of our Alpha. Such was the will of the Stormcrow. We sought glory, nothing more. You have bested us."
Do I see him clutching for his clave?
The Alpha? Wits alertness. Nothing escapes the vigilant watch of the pack.
Snarls, still in his bow, would kind of pick it up with his... Wait, does he seem like he's going to be attacking with it? Or...
I mean, you doubt he wants to bake you a cake.
Snarls would pick it up with his mouth, considering he's still in his bow. Returning back to Tara's side. He merely shakes his head as he does so.
Tara would say, "We will accept an honorable surrender, and you can have your Alpha, along with his clave back, if you can get the Philodox Elder to speak to us."
Looking up, there is a moment's pause. "You would keep our Alpha while you send us away?"
"That is the least that you could do for your transgressions."
Snarls, with the clave still in his mouth, growls slightly at that.
"Where would you meet the Elder?"
"At the clearing 3 miles northeast from the Sept."
The Wendigo, looking amongst each other, glower their direction back at you. They don't seem pleased by what they're hearing, yet they're not putting up a staunch resistance. They don't have many options.
Tara just maintains very stern eye contact.
"We have your word that nothing will happen to the Alpha."
Tara brings her hand up in a fist and over her chest, saying, "You have my word."
"Then we will bring the Elder, as you say, and sort this issue."
He's gonna step forward.
You're lying.
"I speak truth."
The fetish says otherwise.
Tara bares her fangs.
Now you lie.
"Do we have your word?"
"I will bring the Elders and we will make peace."
You lie again. I will rend your Alpha's head from his neck.
He draws one hand up, his talons outstretched. "Watch your tongue."
Then watch yours.
The other Wendigo snarl. Several exchange glances.
Should I try to read them?
Snarls. You're getting that uncomfortable feeling again that they're about to try some shit.
Snarls,
Can I grab their leader by the throat, raising him up into the air?
Strength and brawl. Meanwhile, Darren, wits and alertness.
Snarls is holding the clave in his mouth. He would go into Krynos so that he could speak, and he would say, "Don't you dare try."
Stamina primal urge. Dropping the clave from your mouth. You had some sap on there that really just tasted horrible. You could not think until you got that thing out of your mouth. Meanwhile, Tara, scooping up the leader, all of them move forward until she holds him up.
Dee's gonna
Would I
stand
be
in between
able?
them.
Would I be able to use persuasion again?
Yes.
Okay. Tara will say, "You will do as we ask. Do not dishonor yourselves even more."
Stepping forward, one of the Krynos of the Wendigo puts a hand over his heart. You can see him shift back into the Galbro. His nudity not bothering him, he cuts with each claw on his hand over the place of his heart. I will go and bring the Philodox without treachery.
Tara glances over to Dee for a split second before returning her gaze to the one who stepped forward.
He tells truth.
She lowers Zadok, letting go of him, or letting him go drop back into the snow, and then gives a nod.
With that, he turns, shifting to the lupus form, and begins to trod away before breaking into a sprint. The other Wendigo wait, shifting to their breed forms. Their Galliard stepping forward with the Theurge, stared daggers into Tara
She
before the
stares
Theurge
back.
passes. Are we allowed to see to our alpha?
No.
That depends if you intend treachery.
A small-looking one with only a bit of peach fuzz on his face crosses his arms over his chest. Coming from your people, what would we only repeat what we've learned?
Can I read him?
Yes.
Okay, I'm getting it out the way, okay?
You get the impression he is trying and failing very poorly to seduce Tara.
Snarls looks at him very confused as he places his paw over the clave that he dropped, drawing it closer to him. His head is slightly tilted. Although he's got a hispo, face, he looks in utter confusion and thought.
Meanwhile, we're going to step away, and Darren, come with me. Just as you were wandering away from the pack, passing under a bramble of thorns that pulls at your fur and flesh, you are then confronted by a beautiful scene of a hot spring pool serving as the centerpiece, with lush vegetation thriving around the pool, which is hot enough to melt the snow and ice adjacent around. A tall rock wall shoots up from the forest floor bordering the pool on one side, and the sweet smell of spring earth is quite clear here. Without realizing it, you have stepped somewhere into the Umbra, and only vaguely you are able to recall that this is one of the sacred glens. A beautiful, untouched place, a protected place where Gaia's power is strong. This being one of the kind of thing that the Garu fight to preserve.
Still in my Krynos form, I sniff the air and prowl around, not knowing how I shifted. I don't trust this image before me.
The scene does not change as the water laps faintly, and you can feel the warmth of it soothe some of the cold which has clung to your fur.
One man, come.
Roll your ancestors. You see the image of one man approach, and you see him for himself rather than the man that you recognize. He is an old, grizzled veteran with long black hair, a beard tied into 2 braids on either side of his chin. Scars line his face and exposed flesh, one creasing down from his forehead over his right eye and upper lip, giving him a deformed appearance. His hands, though helmet curled like claws, he glowers at you. And as he begins to take a step forward, preparing to hear what it is you have to say, you feel a hand on your shoulder.
I turn.
Wits and alertness. You recognize this warrior. Yet the only reason he would be here now, the only reason he would be here as you evoke the memory of your ancestors, would be the fact that he is an ancestor. Uli Brightjaws, or Uli Scarheart. He stares down Harold just as you did, and then pushes you forward, forcing the confrontation.
At the very beginning of the pressure of him being pushed forward, Darren would turn to face Harold and, I suppose, step with purpose towards him, brandishing his talons, spreading his hands at his sides.
You steal my glory.
I give you honor when you have none.
And Darren would attack, lunging forward with his talons.
It is a savage brawl. Bites and claws. He has no choice but to fight you as Krynos. Even as stubborn as he is, Harold isn't insane enough to fight a Krynos in Hamid. Yet he does try in Galbro. Yet you have him pinned against the rock wall, your feet bathing in the waters beneath you, as he is unable to fight against. He snarls, grabbing at your throat. You lack conviction. I give you that.
You give weakness.
You're coddled, weak.
And you are shameful.
Charisma and expression. Both of his hands grabbing at her furred throat, he glowers at you. You have strength, pup. Why do you hesitate? Why do you force me to act? That is all you are, whimpering, calling on me. Whimpering with those pups you call packmates. Cease whimpering. I only want you to be strong. To beget. We are born to kill, to fight.
Then watch. Only.
And Darren would release him and stand straight.
I will prove myself.
A shadow falls over you. You look back and see that it is not Scarheart, but through the trees, 2 eyes like burning suns watch, waiting. They want to see that promise fulfilled. And in the waters beneath you, you see how Harold died. He died in Harano. He died in a frenzy because his whole pack perished due to his incompetence. And that is what drove him mad. That is why he drives you to be strong. That is why he is shameful. And why he won't give up. But you've made him understand. And you've made him afraid. We can return to the others.
Please tell me we're not dead.
I'll let Darren decide if he comes back.
If he comes back.
Just saying.
Darren, my man, what happened out of character?
You get your ass back here!
Remember the pack, don't run away. Oh, could I try and track down Darren so we can get him and go?
Darren, Dex and Stealth, Snarls, Perception Investigation, or Survival for, trying to sniff him out. Snarls, you can tell that he is staying close, but seems to be holding back, more or less watching from the sideline. Perhaps looking over the pack as you move.
Bitch, dead. Okay, sorry. Cool.
Out of character, Tara. Should we try to convince these Wendigo that we're not responsible for our Sept, our people aren't responsible for the dead pups?
We're not saying anything to them, and if you start talking to them about it, I will tell you to stop. We're not saying fuck all to these pups.
Okay.
Would I be able to tell what Baron's doing?
Watching.
Yes.
He's just watching.
He is watching.
Alright, then we'll call it here.
I gotta know what happened.